On the campaign trail, I used to always talk about the fact that wages weren't going up for people. They were down from 20 years ago, and people had one job. Now they were working 2 and 3 jobs, and they were making less money. Well, I have good news for you. It was just announced that wages, for the first time in many years, for people in the United States have gone up. I'm so happy about that. That means you're working hard, but you're making more money. And that's going to continue. So congratulations. Spend your money well.
So over the weekend, President Trump announced that wages are, quote, rising for the very first time in many years. Steve Ratner is charting that for us. He has some questions. And also joining the conversation, we have Fortune Magazine's senior editor-at-large, Lee Gallagher. The latest issue is the annual Most Powerful Women in Business edition, with Lockheed Martin CEO Marilyn Hewson taking top honors.
Roll Tide.
I love it.
Roll
Alabama.
Tide.
Don't tell the president. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, Steve, take us through your charts. Is the president correct?
Well, like most things, it is not completely factual correct, shall we say. So let's take a look at a couple of charts. First, let's look at the chart that shows what's actually happening in nominal wages, which are wages before you adjust for inflation. And what you can see here is what the president is talking about, which is this little jiggle up these last couple of years. But if you look at it in historical context, it's a very small jiggle, and that's before inflation. So let's look at it now after inflation, because inflation has been rising. And what you'll see there is a somewhat different picture. What you'll see there, in fact, is that wages have been rising more slowly under Trump than they did under Obama. And that is in part because of inflation. So under Trump, wages have only gone up. They were flat in June. They were flat in July. They were flat in. They were up a little bit in August. But all told, they were only up 0.3% a year under Trump versus 0.8% under Obama. So it's a pretty small. It's a worse situation than it was under Obama. And then let's look at a couple of other interesting things relating to what Trump said. First, some new data that came out about what's happened to different strata of our society. So not surprisingly, you see that the top 10% of Americans have actually done pretty well. You see that the 50th percentile, the median here. Sorry, let me do this once per time. You see that the top has done pretty well. You see, interestingly enough, that the bottom has done pretty well. What you also see is that the middle has not done very well. And the top, we all know why that's happened. The bottom has happened because of substantial increases in minimum wages by quite a number of states over the years. And so it has left the middle class, the people, many of whom are the people who voted for Trump, worse off or not any better off than they were before. And then lastly, one other thing Trump said.
But Steve, let me stop you right there, though. So, I mean, that sounds like good news, though. I mean, we often hear the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poor. But if you go back to the beginning of the Obama administration in 2009 and take it all the way through the first 18 months of the Trump administration, actually, Americans overall have seen their prospects improving. If you look at that chart, looks like they've been improving a good bit, the 90th percent, over the past 8-9 years.
Yes, over the past 8-9 years, the top 10% of Americans, the 90th percentile, have improved. The bottom 10% have actually improved because of minimum wage increases in more than 17 states so far, and another, I think, 8 to come post the time of this data. But the people who've been left behind are the people in the middle, the 50th percentile, who are sitting here essentially in the same place that they were back in the beginning.
Steve, though, again, not to be difficult, because you know I would never be difficult with your charts. But if you start in 2013, just looking at the chart, let's put the chart back up there. If you start in 2013 and just look at those trend lines in the last 3 years of the Obama administration and the first year and a half of the Trump administration, wouldn't most countries absolutely love to have trend lines like that?
Well, our wages certainly have gone up by more than they have in other countries. But one, you're coming off this bottom down here at the depths of the recession, so you're obviously going to climb back. And when the dust settles from beginning to end, as we said, the top and the bottom have done reasonably well. They're up a few percentage points over 10 years. That's not a lot, but it's a few percentage points in real terms. The middle has simply gotten back to where they were in 2009. At a time when the stock market has, roughly doubled. So you tell me who the winners and losers are there. But I have one more chart, if you want to take a quick look at it, about Trump's claim that people are holding multiple jobs. So that turns out, now, interestingly, and I know the public narrative is that most people are holding multiple jobs, the data actually doesn't tell you that. It tells you that the number of people holding multiple jobs peaked back in 1996, 1997, has been going down ever since, and in fact hasn't really done much of anything in the last few years. So it's another case of an exaggeration by our president.
You know, Lee, as we look at these charts, you know, I get lost whenever numbers are mentioned. I'm terrible in math. But eyesight would seem to tell you that there is at least more confidence in the American economic scene today among people than has been in the past several years.
Oh, absolutely, there is. The economy is booming. But getting back to wages, so if you pull the camera back further, wage growth has been very, very slow in this whole recovery. It has lagged everything else. And it's been one of the mysteries, productivity being the other mystery. Why has this not kept up? In the most recent unemployment report, wages were up 2.9%. That's the best since 2009, but that's not where it should be. There are many reasons for that. Economists are saying maybe it's just going to take longer. Maybe, you know, technology has changed the job landscape. But if you look even further, you know, the median male worker wage adjusted for inflation, if you go back to 1980, has not changed that much. And Steve mentioned, you know, there's this kind of tale of two cities happening. The average CEO now makes 270 times the average worker, and that was 27 times in 1980. So there's been a real disparity there. So that's something economists are trying to figure out.
All right, so Lee, stay with us. Coming up, a second woman comes forward to accuse Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. The new allegation, plus the response from Kavanaugh, the White House, and the Senate Judiciary Committee. And a new poll has Democrats widening their advantage for control of Congress, and it's being driven by women.
By women, and also we're going to be asking Steve Rattner to put together some charts about how the Yankees have performed against the worst team in baseball this year, the Baltimore Orioles. That and so much more ahead on Morning
It's
Joe.
all straight ahead.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.